the figures, everything you could imagine that could be hacked in a company. He managed to do it just by hacking the mobile app. Just through the mobile app, he managed to do everything from there. I'm intrigued as much as you are, really, to hear exactly what he has to say. Please welcome to the stage right now, Managing Director of Resecurity, Mr. Ahmad Halabi.
Okay, hello and welcome. My name is Ahmad Halabi, and I'm gonna talk about breaking security mobile app encryption. So a little bit about me. My name is Ahmad Halabi. I'm a senior security specialist. I'm actually a hacker as well. So I'm currently the managing director of Resecurity, and I discovered more than 2,000 vulnerabilities in more than 200 companies, like Facebook, Google, Twitter, Yahoo, and so on. I'm also ranked the top hacker in the US Department of Defense for the year 2019, the first hacker at IBM for the year 2020, and I was one of the top 50 hackers worldwide around the world by HackerOne. You can check my biography here. So, importance of encryption and the potential danger that may happen from it. Okay, so we all know that companies usually use encryption in order to encrypt their data and to ensure their safety, like safety against disclosing sensitive information or denying breach data from being exposed to programs or hackers. But and also companies usually and developers encode, encrypt, or obfuscate source code of the mobile applications so they can ensure that their source code is safe and no one is able to read the clear text source code after decompiling the mobile application. Okay, but what if the hackers were able to decrypt your encryption? So if you depend on one security level, one security layer, which is just encrypting your source code inside the mobile application, and the hacker was able to decrypt it, and you save sensitive information inside the source code like IP address, password, credentials, and so on, then you will be in a very big trouble. And this is what I did. So yeah, owning the whole company from just decrypting the mobile application. So from a single decryption to gaining remote access to the whole company. Okay, so I had a project probably a year ago from a financial sector asking me to test their mobile application security level. So the app is finance.apk as a demo example here, but it is a real case scenario happened with me. So starting with this application, first step for me was to decompile this APK file. So you know that in mobile applications, the APK file is like a compressed file. So if you right-click, unzip, you will see the files of the APK. But there is more advanced tool, which is called APK tool, where it can decompile the APK for you in a human-readable format like Smiley or Java sometimes. And we can see here, so these are the files and folders after decompiling the APK file. So first step is done. I was able to simply decompile the APK file, which is a very easy step. Then, the thing that brought my attention is the following. I found inside a config folder, config directory, after decompiling and checking the files, that they have JSC files. So JSC stands for JavaScript compiled files, which are basically an encrypted version of the normal JavaScript files. So whenever you see a JavaScript inside a mobile application, it means that they are using a cross-platform development, not normal native Java, for example. This brought my attention to check the web technologies or web hacking. So now I did a small research about JSC. What is JSC? how the encryption of JSC works, the concept, the methodology of decrypting behind it. Is there a key, or is there any other technique to decrypt JSC files? Because for decrypting files, either you will have the decryption key, maybe it is leaked somewhere, or you can find a way inside the algorithm that you will be able to decrypt the files. For example, Apple paid me $10,000 for decrypting their Crypto.js library that Apple Pay used. I was able to decrypt the Crypto.js library by just studying the algorithm and simulating it. So I was sending requests to the server, encrypting using the decryption that I used for encrypting that Crypto.js. Okay, let's keep here. So we can see that here the content inside the config.jsc file is encrypted. So the next step was looking how to decrypt the JSC file. So after some research, I found that JSC uses something called Cocos2d-x, which is an open source cross-platform development framework. So whenever you know like the technique or the technology they are using, you can easily identify more details about how to break or decrypt it. So simply, I was searching for Cocos2d-x files inside the decompiled files, and you can notice that I found inside lib/armabi-v7a 3 files .so stands for shared object libraries, similar to like .bin, .exe. So these files are related to the encryption of the JSC, and we can see they are also non-human readable files. So that brought me to use a very powerful tool called EDA Pro. So it does like this assembler tool to convert such files like .so extension into a human readable, at least hex view. So if we can see this part, this is hex view where you can read the source code at least. So libcocos file uses something called XXT key, which is the encryption key to decrypt the JSC files. What I did is simply just search for the main function, and we can see here that I found the main.js. Remember, I told you the application is cross-platform because they are using JSC. So this is a very valuable information, so you can save time while you're looking to decrypt. Like finding main.js, and right above it, I found the XXT key. Sorry guys, I had to redact some stuff because confidential information. But here is the end of the results is the important. Now I grab this XXT key and use a tool that uses this key in order to decrypt the JSC files. So we can see here that I'm decrypting config.jsc into a human readable, game config.jsc, ping take config.jsc, and so on. So now, like the first section of this talk is finished, we were successfully able to break the encryption and the security level encryption they have, and now we obtain the source code very clear to view and read easily. The next step will be the static code analysis or source code analysis. So going inside these files and checking the source code of the files, I found an interesting IP address, 39.redacted.31, and the port, including the directory. This is very important. Directly heading to open source intelligences to check what else I have for open ports. And yeah, I found a GitLab, you can see here. So on port 800, I found a GitLab login page, and it's time to check it. You can see the request get/users/sign-in. So probably the internal company have by mistake the GitLab accessible publicly, including the sign-in page. Yeah. So now we have the GitLab sign-in page. Now we have to think about a new concept called chaining vulnerabilities. So what I mean by chaining vulnerabilities is that you use the advantage of this first vulnerability that you found, and you try to chain it with another vulnerability in order to obtain like a critical impact, more impactful result. So register brought my attention. I clicked on it. I found that the registration page is accessible and I can register an account. So what I did is simply added username, email, password, hit register, and I was in. So when I was in, I found that, I think I talked about it here. Yeah. When I registered, I found that no public projects were available for the normal user, because when I registered, they assigned for me a normal user, non-privileged user. So I don't have the admin access, I don't have admin rights, that's why I can't do anything. So next step was to search on the internet for any vulnerability related to GitLab, depending on the version number of GitLab. And luckily I found that the version number of GitLab is leaked in one of their JavaScript files when I crawled the whole website. So identifying the version of GitLab, finding on the internet a vulnerability that allows an unauthorized user, a normal non-privileged user, to access the information of an administrator user, which is an admin. And we can see here, I just got the username, which is the most valuable information for me. So username, root, this is very valuable information. You can launch another complete attack from it. So from this root, what I did is that I got back to the sign-in page, I added the username root and the password, hit sign in, and using Burp Suite intruder section, I tried to brute force the password. But you know, before brute forcing password randomly, you need to understand properly your target. You need to understand your target well. So you don't just do random brute force. Instead, you do something called threat intelligence. So what we do is that we go on the internet, on the dark web, we try to identify a lot of information about our target. We try to map what are the common keywords that they use in their website, and then we generate a customized word list rather than generating a normal word list. So generating customized word list, launching the brute force, I got blocked by CloudFront firewall. So now this is a very problem. Problem is when you try to brute force, you send 5 requests to the server, you get blocked by a firewall, which was here, you can see CloudFront.net, so CloudFront firewall. Simply what I did, after some research, I was able to bypass. So using a technique called x_for inside the header, we can see it here. So with every request going on, I increase a value, number value. So 127.0.0.1 stands for a local host. So simply I was tricking the firewall and I was telling him, hey, I'm sending a request, but it is originating from your local host. So he's passing the request because he thought that I'm a local host, like kind of VPN tunneling, but I'm actually a malicious hacker. So I'm coming from outside, not from the inside. And also, if you just forward using the local host, 127.0.0.1, you forward the same request multiple times, you also get blocked. So the great reason here is to send every request a new number. We can see here in the payload, there is payload 1 and the 300, which stands for the last digits here after the last dot, 300, and I'm increasing 301, 302. So whenever you increase in the request, the CloudFront will not be able to detect you. So we bypassed the firewall successfully. And I found the password, by the way. So because of generating a well-customized password list. And I remember I spent almost 5 hours just doing threat intelligence, reconnaissance about the target in order to generate a well-customized password list. So after bypassing the firewall, finding the password, I was inside the GitLab, I got the projects, and now it's time to also doing additional static analysis and source code review for the projects. So, doing source code review and advice to use VS Code because it is good with some regular expressions to search for specific keywords like IP addresses, passwords, and so on. So, first thing I found is the credentials for cloud service, which is Alibaba. You can see the bucket. I was able to access the buckets. You can see here the bucket name, backend H5, also the type OSS, which is a cloud service for Alibaba. So first thing, we have the cloud service buckets. Also, we got the access to the MySQL databases. In the source code, we can see readme.sql, answer.sql, answer 2021, because I worked on this project last year in 2021. Expo code, everything, almost everything. Okay, also I got access to the Redis database. I just found the password of the Redis database from inside the MySQL database. So see how chaining vulnerabilities work. I hacked the database, the MySQL database, checked its information inside, found the password. I matched where the password is possible, probably can be fit. So it fit in the Redis database. I hacked the Redis database, download all the keys, and from the Redis database, I found the credentials of the management backend panel. So the username, which is root, and the password is hashed, and I was able to decrypt it because it was very simple. MD5 hash, as I remember. Simple Google search, got the clear text password. And now I was inside the management panels. So all financial information for the company, I have them. All the databases, I have them almost. Now, all the servers, I have them as well. So if we look here, I got remote access to the Windows server for the main corporation. I got remote access to the Linux servers for the corporation as well. Yeah, this was one of the biggest projects I have worked on. I remember I worked on this project for 30 hours or 25 hours, 5 hours a day for just 5 days. So the lesson learned from this quick demo and talk is the following. Never depend on one single security layer. We saw that when you implement encryption, sometimes it can be decrypted. So why putting confidential information or secret information inside your source code? Instead, you can use alternative ways. For example, contacting web service, implementing APIs, and so on, depending on your technology, depending on your work. Also, use multiple security layers. For example, when we bypass the web application firewall, so there is a bug in CloudFront, I was able to bypass it, but if the application implemented rate limit protection on the business logic level of the web application, I will not be able to bypass, even if I bypass the CloudFront, I will not be able to get the rate limit vulnerability active, because I have also now to bypass the application logic security level, which they implemented on their web application. So if they implemented this protection, probably it will be impossible to obtain these results. Yeah, and what else also is to remember that you need to sometimes go backwards. So you remember when I found the password of the Redis, it was from the MySQL database. So chaining vulnerabilities, try to link all vulnerabilities together in order to obtain more impactful results and critical impacts. Okay, thank you. That was fast.